Magandang gabi po mga katipon sa Pilipinas. Ito po ang ating katipunan. Muling sumasa inyong mga tagapakinig upang magbigay ng mahalagang impormasyon, magbigay liwanag at higit sa lahat makinig sa inyong mga daing at kuro-kuro hinggil sa mga problemang patuloy na nagpapahirap sa ating kalagayan at kabuhayan. Sa susunod na 2 oras, kisikapin po namin ipaliwanag ang iba-ibang bahagi ng ating ekonomiya at ang mga mabibigat pang local and international issues na may malaking epekto sa ating buhay at kinabukasan. Ito po ang inyong katipon na si Butch Valdes kasama ang aking co-host na si Valdes. Nandito po kami kasama po ng ibang mga tiga Save the Nation Movement, Philippine LaRouche Society at ang mga partido politikal ng Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino. Kami po dito ay nag-aanaya sa inyo na makibahagi sa ating talakayan sa pagsusuri ng mga kasalukuyang problema at paghahanap ng kaukulang solusyon. Okay, today is January
24.
2021. At nantabayanan po natin ng mga developments sa bansang Amerika at ano po ang magiging mangyayari o epekto dito sa mga recent developments. Alam niyo po dahil dito sa paratang ng mga dinaya si President Trump at despite na limpak-limpak na ebidensyang ilinalabas, mukhang talagang napakalakas ng kanyang mga kalaban, no? At hindi iba-iba pong lugar ang kanyang yung mainstream media, yung mga CNN, CNBC, News, kalaban na yan at tuloy-tuloy nilang pinupukpok sa pag-iisip ng tao na wala daw ebidensya. Sobra-sobra pong ebidensya, no? At ilang pong mga kasong isinampa sa korte at lahat na po yun. Pati po yung saligang batas ay nilapastangan nila para lang maitulak itong kagustuhan nila. Ang nakakakilabot po dyan ay ito po ang pinakamalakas na bansa sa buong mundo. At ang mensahe po, hindi lang po sa mga Amerikano, kundi sa buong mundo na kami ang makapangyarihan. Kaming mga nagpapagalaw ng mga levers of power, tawag nga nila, na kami ang makapangyarihan. Maski anong gawin namin, ay wala kayong magagawa, wala kayong lakas. Maski na sumandal pa kayo sa mga mamamayan.
Kahit ito siya ang pinili nyo.
Maski siya ang pinili nyo, sumandal ka pa sa wala kaming pakialam kung itong gusto namin, ito ang mangyayari. This is the message that they send, not just to America, but to the rest of the world. And it is a very, very scary situation. Gusto sabihin, in your face, tawag nga nila sa
basketball.
No, in your face, sa harap-harap mo, no? Kaya kung sumugod at mag-shoot ng bola, kailan ko gusto, maski na ilang pang manggwagwadya sa akin, in your face ang tawag nyo sa basketball. Dito, in your face, maski na ano pang gawin mo, no? Yung aming kagustuhan ng iiral. ito ang mensaheng nakakakilabot. Anyway, bagamat ganyan po, ang nasaksihan po natin si President Trump ay umalis sa White House at bumalik siya doon sa kanyang lugar sa Mar-a-Lago sa Florida. At nagumpisa na pagkatapos manumpa ni Biden, nagumpisa na ang kanyang termino. Maraming nagsasabi na hindi pa daw tapos itong sitwasyon na ito. Ngunit huwag muna tayong magkakahaka tungkol dyan. Ang isipin po natin, kung manatili pong presidente itong si Biden at itong mga ito ay may lugar na kapangyarihan, what can we expect? What can the United States citizens expect? What can the world expect from these people? That is the question we have to ask.
Yes.
And despite what we have seen, what does the future of the world look like with the leader of the nation, supposedly Biden, but actually behind Biden ang mga talagang nagmamaniobra dito, no?
Right.
Sila ang nagpapatakbo at sila ang yung kanilang kagustuhan sa mundo ang mangyayari. Di ba? What do you think?
No, you're right, Chairman. Whatever the case is, and I'm sure there's a lot of things na nangyayari behind the scenes na nakikita po natin sa iba't ibang mga sources. But the point is, if he is sitting and he is in a position where he can make decision, what can we expect from this guy? And as so far, 2 days pa lang into his supposed nasa White House na siya. Yung mga news reports nire-reverse niya ho, binabaliktad niya ho lahat ng ginagawa ni Trump ngayon pa lang. Or gusto niyang baliktarin. Isa na doon yung sabi mo na ika-cancel niya yung mga infrastructure deals with Canada, which will give a lot of jobs. The other one is hindi niya ititigil niya yung pambaba ng presyo ng gamot. Sabi niya ititigil daw niya yon. Hindi daw kasi makatarungan.
Yung pagbaba ng presyo ng gamot, executive order po ng presidente yon dahil sa COVID-19, yung pandemic. Nakita niya na nahihirapan ng mga tao sa pagbibili ng mga kinakailangan nilang gamot. Kaya nagbigay siyang across the board, binawasan niya ang presyo. Utos niya, pinabawas niya yung presyo ng gamot para pakinabangan ng taong bayan. Ito po ay babaligtarin na ni
ipapawalang visa.
Papawalang visa niya yan para maiakyat ulit ang presyo ng gamot sa bansang Amerika. Ngayon pa lang po yan. Meron pa mga iba. Marami pa. Yung isa, sabi nila, pinutol niya yung kontrata sa pipeline na ginagawa para sa langis between Canada and the US.
And going down to...
At automatically daw, ang mawawalan ng trabaho doon, 70,000 workers. Ito yung mga taong supposedly siya, pinutol niya para mawalan daw ng trabaho. Dahil ang kanilang programa ngayon ay hindi sila mababawasan daw ang gamit ng langis. Since babawasan nila yung gamit ng langis, hindi daw na nila kailangan itong mga workers, pagdadaloy ng langis, itong mga pipelines, and that they will be converting energy into solar and wind energy ang kanilang gagawin. Kanya ito daw mga oil companies, pati na yung mga tawag dito, yung sa shale oil, yung mga fracking, yung mga ganyan, papatigil na doon yun. Alam mo po yung ganitong sistema ang bumuhay sa Amerika. dahil nagkulang po yung langis nila, they had to go into fracking. No? Tsaka gumawa silang mga iba-ibang deals sa Canada, sa Mexico, at sa ano pa, kung para makakuha sila ng langis para mabuhay yung ekonomiya nila. Babalik na rin po daw ni Biden.
Yes, and worth it to note na sa campaign po, pag sinusubaybayan nyo yung campaign nila, si Biden po, yung mga pronouncement niya, yung mga statement po niya, wala siyang sinasabing gano'n. Hindi niya sinasabing tipigilan niya kasi trabaho yun eh. Tsaka boto yun, di ba? Hindi niya sinasabing itatanggal niya yung pagbaba ng presyo ng gamot. At ngayon may isa pa, sabi niya ipapapasok daw niya lahat ng yung refugees. Yung caravan ng mga tao daw pwede nang pumasok sa US.
Yun ang parang nangyayari kasi may anunsyo po si Biden na bibigyan na niya i-legitimize, meaning bibigyan niya ng citizenship yung mga 11 million na TNT ngayon na nandito sa bansang Amerika. Nandun sila sa Amerika, nagti-TNT. Okay na tayo dyan, no? So, bigyan niya ng citizenship itong mga ito. Dahil dito, maraming gustong dumagsa papuntang Amerika galing sa Honduras, Mexico, at iba-iba pang Latin American countries na nagmamarcha papasok sa Amerika. Dahil itong pangako ni Biden daw, bubuksan niya to, bababa niya yung wall. Yung bakod, no? Bakod na linagay, 450 miles na bakod ang linagay po ni Trump daw para hindi makapasok yung mga illegal aliens. Ibababa daw niya yan para makapasok daw itong mga illegal aliens. Ngayon, dadagsa ngayon yung tao dyan sa Amerika. Ang aangal, yung mga tao naman na mamamayan ng Amerika kasi pagdagsa dito, ang kalaban nila sa trabaho, no? Ito mga illegal aliens. Ang liit na nga ng kaya nila sa trabaho nila at naghahanapan ng trabaho dahil nagsesarado yung mga businesses. Tapos dadagsa pa itong mga ito, hindi malaking problema na naman yan.
Yeah.
And they don't know what Biden is going to do. Kinakailangan pigilin niya yung mga tao, huwag sila papasok. Yun na nga yung ginagawa ni Trump noon.
Yes.
Naglagay siyang detention centers dito sa labas ng Amerika para doon muna nakapasok itong mga ito at ipoprocess sila isa-isa. Yun din ang gagawin niya. At they were criticizing him for this, no? Because they were claiming that the parents were being separated from their children. No? All of these things that they politicize is now going to haunt them as we come back. Now, many people, even before these 2020 elections, people like George Soros, and those people like sila Hillary Clinton, sila Obama, tsaka yung mga ibang mga malalaking bankero, mga Rothschild, mga Wall Street, no? Ay unang-una nagulat sila na nanalo si Trump noong 2016 at nanumpa sila na kinakailangan tanggalin nila. Yung buong 2016 hanggang 2020, gumawa sila ng paraan para tanggalin si Trump. Lahat ng kasinungalingan, they were trying to impeach him with lies. They paid off the CIA and the FBI to come up with lies about his connections with Russia, and so on and so forth. Ngayon, itong mga impeachment efforts, pati na yung kanyang so-called cheating in the elections of 2016 did not prosper because they didn't have evidences. And eventually, as this was being brought out, hindi nila nagawa, pati na yung pag-impeach sa kanya dahil yung Republican Party, alam na walang ebidensya yung ginawa ni Pelosi na pa-impeach ito si Trump. Pero nanunumpa sila na tatanggalin nila to. Isa sa mga malaking pondong gumagastos dito, itong bilyonaryo na si George Soros. I don't know if we have footage ng video of the prediction of George Soros that about President Donald Trump is even way before the elections of 2020. Can we have that video?
Yes, again, this video is an interview with George Soros in 2017. Interviewing, asking them about Trump. Kasi po si Trump, yung background po natin, alam po natin, we've been saying this on the show, the Trump is against the new world order, one world order globalist. Ito yung mga gustong, to rule the world through finance, health, everything. So Trump is against that, and he said it many times. So in 2017, one of the ones who wanted a one world government and talagang campaigning for one world government and is George Soros. So na-identify na po siya as one of those. Ito po yung George Soros na may-ari ng Dominion tsaka Smartmatic. Ito po yung George Soros na yun. So pakinggan po natin a short clip of how he saw Trump's win after Trump won in 2016.
I think we're almost 24 hours away from the inauguration of the 45th president of the United States. Where does he stand in an open society?
Well, I have described him as an imposter and con man and a would-be dictator. But he's only a would-be dictator because I'm confident that the Constitution and the institutions of America, of the United States, are strong enough. The division of power is in operation, and he would be dictator if he could get away with it, but he won't be able to.
Because he will be stopped at what point if he goes too far?
That's right.
In foreign policy or domestic policy?
In both areas. Obviously, in foreign policy, he has greater powers than in domestic policy. But I think Congress will be a bulwark protecting its rights. And when Trump oversteps the mark, they will fight back. And if they have a bipartisan coalition, they will actually succeed in limiting him.
The markets for the moment seem to be behind Donald Trump. It lost you a lot of money. What are they seeing?
Well, they are facing really a unique victory because they are in control of the presidency of effectively Congress and well, it's not official of the Supreme Court as well.
So this is the Republicans, but what about the markets? The markets.
Well,
the stock markets.
Well, because the markets see Trump dismantling regulations and reducing taxes, and that has been their dream. So their dream has come true.
What does it mean for the U.S. economy?
Well, that's a very open question because right now the uncertainty is at a peak because it's impossible to predict exactly how Trump is going to act because he hasn't actually thought it through. He didn't expect to win. He was surprised. You know, he was engaged in building his brand and improving it by his success in attracting crowds. And it's really only when he got elected that he started seriously to think about what he's going to do. I personally am convinced that he's going to fail, not because of people like me who would like him to fail, but because the ideas that guide him are inherently self-contradictory, and the contradictions are actually already embodied by his advisors. He's got 3 chiefs of staff instead of 1, and in his cabinet, and therefore you will have the various establishments fighting with each other. And that is going to cause a very unpredictable outcome. So right now, uncertainty is at a peak. And actually, uncertainty is the enemy of long-term investment. So I don't think the markets are going to do very.
Okay, yan po ang interview kay George Soros in 2017, right before the inauguration of President Trump. As you know, President Trump's first term was when he was voted in November 2016. At ito pong si Trump, isa sa mga ayaw sa kanyang maging presidente dahil nga dito sa kanyang mga policies at sinasabi niya,
Soros, you mean?
Si Soros is saying that Trump will fail, and that everything that he's going to do will be a dismal failure. No? At nakikita niyo naman po yung nangyari dito sa 4 na taon na ito. No? Minahal po siya ng mga mamamayan. No? At binoto po siya ng tao, talagang overwhelming support na binigay sa kanya. Etong si Soros, nakikita niya na ganito at sinabi niya, hindi dapat pabayaan manalo etong si Trump dito sa 2020 election. No? At gagawin nila lahat ng kanilang kakayanan para hindi manalo. Itong si Soros na ito, kilala siya as marami pong kalokohan ng ginagawa nito. No? He is one principle of legalization of drugs. No? Gusto niya po yung mga cocaine, yung mga hindi lang marijuana, pati na rin yung opium at itong mga ganitong klaseng negosyo ay malegalize na dahil sabi niya, yan ang commodity yan eh. No? At kinakailangan na gamitin ng gobyerno para makakumita ang gobyerno sa mga negosyong drugs. No? At huwag na siyang illegal drugs. Pabayaan mo magbentahan ng ano. Dahil ang tao naman silang pipili kung ayaw nila o gusto. No? Free market daw yan. No? So, what happens? Siyempre, hindi mangyayari yan kung ang presidente si Trump. No? Ngayon, dito kay Biden, malamang susunod si Biden sa mga ganyang klaseng pag-iisip. At anong mangyayari? Siyempre, masisira ang moral fiber ng mga mamayan sa bansang Amerika. At tatandaan nyo, kung anong gagawin ng batas ng Amerikano, ginagaya po ng mga ibang bansa. Isa na po manggagaya, manggagaya sa kanila dito sa bansang Pilipinas. No? Legalization of drugs. Hindi lang po yun. Marami pa po nga ibang masamang ginagawa. Ito si George Soros. Pero what do you want to add to that?
Yung maganda yun, the reason why pinakita po natin is now we know the past 3 years kung ano na nangyari, what Trump went through, ano yung mga kaso. Now you look back, and this guy, kunwari, interview lang, pero parang sinasabi niya, may parang babala or may parang warning siya kay Trump. Ang sinasabi niya, yung Congress daw ng US, hindi papayag kay Trump. Yung ano daw, kahit anong gawin ni Trump, bagsak siya. Not because, and inamin niya dito, not because I want him to fail, but I want him to fail. He said that sa interview na to. Sabi niya, gusto ko, hindi siya mag-succeed. Now we look back in 2017, and then the whole of 2017, may kaso na nilalabanan si Trump. Hindi daw, nag-cheat daw siya sa elections, kasama yung Russo. And then 18, naging Ukraine. Tapos 19, naging tapos 20, COVID. Okay? So yung 3.5 years or 3 point something years na naging presidente si Trump, puro merong kaso. Problema na binibigay ng Congress. Nakikita po natin the last 3 years. So this guy is also, makikita po natin, itong si Soros kasi, ang history niyan, siya po ang pinakamalaking donor ng Democratic Party. Siya po ang nagko-control ng anong policy ang gawin ng Democratic Party. So lahat ng gawin nila sa Kongreso, yan sila Obama, siya po ang pumondo niyan, sila Clinton. Okay, so when Soros says this in 2017, na gusto ko bumagsak yan si Trump, hindi magtatanggap. Parang sinasabi niya, I will make sure that Trump will fall. Now, his biggest NGO is called the Open Society. Now, the Open Society, gaya ng sinabi ni Chairman, aside from legalizing drugs, it also says it should take down, yung gusto niya mangyari, take down yung mga barriers of protectionism sa mga bansa. Gusto nila free trade, liberalization po lahat. Parang bumabalik tayo sa dati, during the times when the monarchy ruled the world.
They don't want to allow countries to protect themselves.
To be sovereign.
They don't want their countries to protect their population. No? Kailangan daw buksan yan. At kung anong iba ibebenta, kasama na dyan ng droga, no? Kailangan payagan yan. No?
Yan yung Open Society.
Ito yung Open Society.
Tsaka may mga ibang NGO na konektado dyan sa Open Society na nag-ooperate dito. Alam na po natin dyan yung mga ganyan, kung saan sila nakakakuha. May iba't ibang layer yan, pero corporate layer, pero doon rin sila kumukuha ng pondo. Okay?
Yan, mga rappler, no?
There's rappler, yeah.
At pati dito mga kung saan di ba itong paglalaban ng ating pamahalaan laban sa drugs, di ba po? Para mo na rin sinabing kalaban mo si Soros, di ba? Kanya yung opposition kay Duterte, itong mga Trillanes, itong mga Leni Robredo, madalas iniimbita yan sa Amerika o sa Europa para magsalita laban sa ating gobyerno. Sino yung audience nila? Yung audience nila, mga organisasyon na itinayo ni George Soros.
Isa na yun yung ICC.
Isa na yun yung
International Criminal Court.
International Criminal
in The
Court.
Hague.
Ang pumupondo po dyan ay si George Soros. Yes. No? So, itong mga ito, sila Lenny, alam nila yan. Alam nila, pero tatanggap sila ng imbitasyon tsaka pondo sa demonyo mismo para lang mailagay sila sa poder at matanggal yung ayaw nila. No?
So ito si Soros is one of the biggest funders. Pero sa likod po ni Soros, ito yung tinatawag natin deep state. Ito yung tinatawag natin New World Order. Ito yung mga elite na financier. Ito yung mga academicians na gusto mag-depopulate. Si Soros lang yung banker na pinapano nila. But behind him, there are many more people who think like this na daanan na natin dito every Sunday, some of them. But the thinking, again, goes back to tanggalin lahat ng Republican nation states sa buong mundo, mga sovereign countries, mga nations, para madaling pasukan ng therefore one world government. In other words, ang gusto mangyari nila is one world government. Now, today, may ganun ba? Where can we find someone or an organization that is outwardly claiming that this is what they want to do for the rest of the world? Marami po, pero the pinaka-recent po is the head of I think it was the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, where this guy, the head, said, we need a great reset. Yung great reset na po to dahil daw sa COVID, dahil kasalanan po ng tao, lahat ng tao sa mundo, masyado hindi nakikinig sa climate change, sira ng mga ekonomiya, maraming mga radical. So, kailangan reset tayo. So, I think I have a video, promo video nitong Great Reset. And then, we can look at this. And then, we can also play Trump's video. Once he was in office, one of his first addresses to the UN and the World Economic Forum, yung reaction ni Trump na sabi niya, ayoko ng globalization, ayoko ng one world government. So let's look at this Great Reset promo.
This is the plan that I have repeatedly warned about, to take the tools of oppression used to tackle the coronavirus and use them all, lockdowns, forced business closures, exclusion zones, isolation. We heard Angela Marsden earlier, businesses shut down, isolation at home, all of that, all of those measures, including destroying private property rights and private income in order to tackle the climate crisis.
Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system.
We have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons and reset ourselves on a more sustainable path. It is an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again. So we must use all the levers we have at our disposal, knowing that each and every one of us has a vital role to play.
The Great Reset is a welcome recognition that this human tragedy must be a wake-up call. It is imperative that we reimagine, rebuild, redesign, reinvigorate, and rebalance our world. Rebalancing investment, harnessing science and technology, and advancing the transition to net zero emissions, all elements of the Great Reset, are fundamental to building the future we need.
And that last one was the clown Guterres, who was at the Climate Ambition Summit, telling us the world is going to cook by 3.5 degrees or something by the end of the century. Yeah, right. This Great Reset is as serious and as dangerous a threat to our prosperity, to your prosperity and your freedom, as we have faced in decades, with these powerful bodies, including the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, and even Prince Charles boasting that within a few short years, yes, their words, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Remember, this is not me saying this, this is them. They are even running ads for the Great Reset. A handful of countries will dominate. I wonder which ones they might be. A terrifying coalition of big business, big tech, and left-wing totalitarians are so confident and so brazen. I mean, they just stole the US election, so I guess they're feeling pretty chuffed with themselves, that they are now promising you will own nothing and you will be happy. What they should have added is added is, and we, the very rich, will own everything and be even happier. Of course they will. The great tragedy here is that Prince Charles is involved in this fascist, corporatist global push and is thereby putting our entire constitutional monarchy at risk. Queen Elizabeth, please give the bloke the punt. It is critical, and I urge you to write to your MPs over the holidays to insist that no Australian public servant or member of parliament, no individual on the Australian public purse attends the World Economic Forum in Lucerne in May, which is where this obscenity is scheduled to begin. Please write to your MPs and tell them. And you think I'm just imagining this stuff? Crazy old Rowan with his conspiracy theories? Think again. This garbage is already deeply embedded into our state and federal governments. I've spoken before about the insidious phrase "build back better," which sounds like common sense, but is in fact just one of several slogans for the Great Reset. Another being the Orwellian phrase, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Here's old Klaus again, minus the white cat on his knee, telling us all about the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
The fourth industrial revolution will impact our lives completely. It will not only change how we communicate, how we produce, how we consume, it will change actually us, our own identity, and of course gives life to such policies and developments like smart traffic, smart government, smart cities. What we will see is that everything will be integrated into an ecosystem driven by big data and driven particularly by close cooperation also of governments with business, civil society. And this revolution will come at a breathtaking speed. It will be like a tsunami.
Like a tsunami in the Fourth Industrial Revolution, you will own nothing, but you will be happy. That is an order. It gets worse. The World Economic Forum are now blatantly saying capitalism needs a dose of Marxism. As I say, it's not like they're hiding their sinister intentions. Indeed, I was horrified when an outsider fan last week sent me this document from the Australian government. Quote, "Preparing for the future. Industry 4.0 test labs in Australia, a strategic initiative of the Prime Minister's Industry 4.0 Task Force. Section 1, Significance of the Fourth Industrial Revolution." Unbelievable. So, may I respectfully remind the Prime Minister there is nothing in the Great Reset that is in Australia's national interest. Australians did not vote for a dose of Marxism in our capitalism. Speaking of Marxists, on this show this year, we also brought Dan Andrews' insidious Belt and Road dealings with Communist China to national attention thanks to my exclusive interview with US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, which led, as I predicted last week, to the passing of the government's Foreign Relations Bill. Again, congratulations to the Prime Minister and the government for that one important piece of legislation. If the Prime Minister is true to his words and only listens and answers to the quiet Australians who elected him, then he can comfortably look forward to re-election, possibly even next year. But if he is seduced by the siren voices of the virtue signallers of the international forums, of the global warming alarmists and their doomsday predictions of the greedy renewable investors within his own party, who fraudulently claim that they are saving the planet when all they are doing is enriching themselves at the expense of the poorest among us. Indeed, if he puts the interests of the elites over the basic everyday interests of the average Aussie, it will not end well. But I am an optimist, and I believe Mr. Morrison understands that Australia rejects the reset.
It's at the end what the Fourth Industrial Revolution will lead to is a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities.
No, mate, not in Australia it won't. Rack off, Klaus.
So yan po, that was an Australian news report, parang commentary, commenting on the Great Reset, ano ba talagang gusto nila. Yan yung German, yung kalbo na nakita natin. Yan yung head po ng World Economic Forum and he is Klaus Schwab, and he is saying that we need to reset everything. We need to put more socialized way of living, and then we need to implement climate change policies. We need
Yung socialized way of living na nasabi nito. Ito yung sinasabi ng commentator. Ang ibig nila sabihin dyan, you will own nothing, but you will be happy. Yun daw ang sinasabi nila. Tatanggalan nila ang properties ninyo, but you will be happy. Hindi na alam kung paano mangyayari yon. Ang hindi daw sinasabi nila, tatanggalin namin ang properties ninyo, you will own nothing, you will be happy, but sabi nung commentator kanina, but we will be happier, because we are the ones that will be
owning
rich, everything.
Now, yan ang nakita po natin sa umpisa si Prince Charles, nakita po natin yung ibang tao dyan, yung mga kilala na po natin. Now, those guys, dati pa, Prince Charles, Prince Philip, lahat na yan. They are the ones pushing this so-called Great Reset. Queen Elizabeth, yung kanilang the royal families, the elite, yung pinaka-elite sa mundo, yung kung dito yung Katipunan Demokratiko Pilipino is fighting oligarchy sa Pilipinas. This is the oligarchy of the world. So these are the ones saying, magulo yung mundo ngayon. Kailangan reset tayo. Mag-impose tayo ng ibang klaseng sistema. You will not own anything. But you will be happy. Ibig sabihin, wala kayong rights. Wala kayong privileges. Wala kayong property. Wala kayong ganyan. So you were just going to be I don't know, you can't even be called a citizen kasi wala kang karapatan eh.
Pero happy ka.
Pero happy ka daw.
Ito yung kanilang bagong mundo. This is the new world order that they're setting up. No? But they don't want to use one world government. Pero yun ang doon nang papunta. At gusto ko lang idagdag, napaka-importante sa kanila, itong sa mga New World Order, na buwagin nila ang bansang Amerika. Kasi ang bansang Amerika ay ang pinakamalakas na populasyon sa buong mundo, at hindi lang po yun, na itinatag ang bansang Amerika based on sovereignty. Based on sovereignty of the individual, yung freedom. No? Hindi lang demokrasya, pero freedom. No? Ngayon, kung gagawin nila itong gusto nila, ano yan, complete contradiction of freedom of the individual. No? Yun ang magiging laban. So, ang laban po sa sangkatauhan. No? And they need America. Why? Well, first of all, in order to take over, they have to collapse America's economy. And they're doing this via the COVID pandemic and itong pagtatanggal kay Trump. At may look-look nila itong mga puppets nila. Pangalawa, they want to be able to control the most powerful military in the world. So that they can impose themselves on all other countries in the world. That when they say we want you to surrender your sovereignty, or else we will crush you with our military. That will be the next step that they need to do. That is why it is strategic for them to take over the United States, because it has the most powerful military in the world. If you cannot take over the world if you don't have a military. Now, what are the powerful militaries in the world right now? As I can see, there are only three main ones. You've got the US, you've got Russia, and you've got China. And the rest are powerful, but not as powerful as these. The most powerful among the three is the US. The So in the U.S. And China, we know, will not surrender their sovereignty. They will fight for it. Russia, we know, will not surrender their sovereignty. That is why when they impose this and threatening with the U.S. military, what will happen is we might have a war, a global war. And probably during this administration of Biden, not yet the biggest war, not yet the Armageddon, but probably this will be one of those steps towards the destruction of the whole world. And this is what we're worried about because the imposition of one world government which will be contrary to the basic nature of a human being, which is to be free. Yun ang ano.
Yeah, the other thing was that the other thing dapat nakita niyo po is si Prince Charles. Si Prince Charles, anak yan ni Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. And remember all of these guys, yung mga elite na to, are the populace. Ang gusto nila, mga 1 billion people na lang ang natitira sa mundo. And hindi po tayo nag-iimbento dyan. In many interviews po, lumabas na rin yun. Ang gusto ni Prince, alam mo si Prince Charles, may ano siya, may-ari yan ng maliit na village somewhere outside the city of London. Binibisita niya yon. Tapos lahat daw eco. Planting, para siyang a little English village na during the Middle Ages. Ganun daw. So gustong-gusto niya yung ganyang bisita, ganyang look, na parang farming lang, walang industry, so sabi niya, walang pollution daw, pero parang medieval village. Parang noong time, Beauty and the Beast, ganun ng village ang gusto niya. So happy siya doon. Sabi niya, sana ganito pa rin ang mundo. Marami siyang sinasabing ganyan. Kasi, during that time, sila naman nagme-may-ari ng mundo. Alright? So, yun ang gusto nila. Going back also to George Soros. Remember po, si George Soros was a Nazi, ha? When he was a teenager during World War II, siya yung taga-sumbong sa mga Nazi kung saan nagtatago yung mga Jews o siya yung parang spy. Kasi bata siya. Umiikot-ikot siya doon.
Tinuturo niya para may hakot doon sa mga tren. Dadali nila yung mga Hudyo doon sa mga camps para patayin, sunugin.
Siya yung parang nagsusumbong. Parang spiya siya. Pero bata pa siya. So, in the 80s...
Pinagyayabang na yan.
Yeah, in the 80s, in-interview siya ng isang reporter. Nazi ka daw, you joined the Nazi party in Hungary, and you were part of the traitors. Do you feel any remorse? Sabi ng interviewer. Sabi ni Soros, no, I don't feel remorse. Because nung bata ka, hindi mo naman alam kung tama o mali. Yan ang excuse niya. Which is the same excuse he uses when he uses a lot of funds or money to destroy economies. Yun nga, celebrated yung nag-away sila ni Mahathir, di ba? During the 80s or late 90s, na nagalit si Mahathir, sabi niya, persona non grata yan si George Soros. Tapos ginamit niya yung funding niya through the stock market and the money markets, pinadevalue niya yung ringgit, Malaysian ringgit. So, nag-aaway sila. Sabi ni para kumita lang si Soros. So, ganyan ang tao si George Soros. Wala siyang moralidad. Sa kanya, parang pera-pera lang to. And this is the guy backing the whole Democratic Party. Yan po ang delikado. Pag-upo pa lang ni Biden, pumasok na yung militar sa Syria. Okay? So, meron na siyang kasi alam na naman ng tao na i-reverse niya yung peace. Remember po, itong si Trump, kahit insultuhin nila si Trump, kahit sabihin nila Dahil pag nayayabangan tayo pag sasalita si Trump, gano'n, lahat ng landmark peace deals, Saudi Arabia and Israel and all of these countries, siya po ang tapos pinauwi niya lahat ng sundalo. From there, sabi niya, wala nang useless wars na yan. Balik na kayo sa Amerika. Etong mga tao nila, Biden, sa likod ni Biden, si Obama. Sa likod kasama si Obama, si Hillary. And all of these guys that he's appointing, lahat yan ang rason kung bakit na-elect si Trump in the first place. Kung bakit nanalo si Trump. Kasi ayaw na ng Amerika niyan. Binabalik po ni Biden. So alam na parang nakikita na ng mundo kung anong gagawin itong lokong to. So I want to play a clip of Trump in the UN, I think, or World Economic Forum, na sinasabi ni Trump kung ano yung policy niya, yung foreign policy niya, after he was president already. I'm not sure if this
was in Davos, I think.
Yeah, Davos. Ito, tama, World Economic Forum. Sige.
America's newfound prosperity is undeniable, unprecedented, and unmatched anywhere in the world. America achieved this stunning turnaround not by making minor changes to a handful of policies, but by adopting a whole new approach centered entirely on the well-being of the American worker. Every decision we make on taxes, trade, regulation, energy, immigration, education, and more is focused on improving the lives of everyday Americans. We are determined to create the highest standard of living that anyone can imagine. And right now, that's what we're doing for our workers, the highest in the world. And we're determined to ensure that the working and middle class reap the largest gains. A nation's highest duty is to its own citizens. Honoring this truth is the only way to build faith and confidence in the market system. Only when governments put their own citizens first will people be fully invested in their national futures. In the United States, we are building an economy that works for everyone, restoring the bonds of love and loyalty that unite citizens and powers nations. Today, I hold up the American model as an example to the world of a working system of free enterprise that will produce the most benefits for the most people in the 21st century and beyond. A pro-worker, pro-citizen, pro-family agenda demonstrates how a nation can thrive when its communities, its companies, its government, and its people work together for the good of the whole nation. As part of this new vision, we passed the largest package of tax cuts and reforms in American history. We doubled the child tax credit, benefiting 40 million American families, and lifting 650,000 single mothers and their 1 million children out of poverty, and out of poverty quickly. We passed the first ever tax credit for employers who provide paid paternal leave for employees earning $72,000 or less annually, and passed paid family leave for government employees as a model for the country. We made child care much more affordable and reduced or eliminated child care wait lists all across the nation. Our child care reforms are supporting working parents and ensuring their children have access to high-quality care and education, all of which they very much deserve. We lowered our business tax from the highest in the developed world down to one that's not only competitive, but one of the lower taxes. We created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones in distressed communities where capital gains on long-term investments are now taxed at zero, and tremendous wealth is pouring into areas that for 100 years saw nothing. The 35 million Americans who live in these areas have already seen their home values rise by more than $22 billion. My administration has also made historic investments in historically black colleges and universities. I saved HBCUs. We saved them. They were going out, and we saved them. We're removing roadblocks to success and rewarding businesses that invest in workers, families, and communities. We've also launched the most ambitious campaign in history to reduce job-killing regulations. For every new regulation adopted, we are removing 8 old regulations, which will save an average of American households about $3,100 per year. It was going to be for every one, we do 2, but we were able to lift that to 8, and we think that's going to go quite a bit higher. We still have a way to go. Today, I urge other nations to follow our example and liberate your citizens from the crushing weight of bureaucracy. With that, you have to run your own countries the way you want.
That was
The latest one.
the latest one of President Trump. But there was another clip. Maybe we'll be able to show it to you maybe in another program. But in that clip, President Trump specifically said that they are not for one world government. Specifically said that they are not for the global reset. He will not be for the global reset.
Yes.
Very specific po yan.
Yun yung 2017 yata na World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
Sabi niya, the future does not belong to globalists, the future belongs to patriots.
And sovereign nations.
But in this clip, he reiterated, pag narinig po natin, sinabi niya, your countries should be able to run your economies the way you want. That's what he said. Yan po yung final line niya. In this clip, this is 2020. So nagyayabang siya how he did it in America because he invested and brought back everything to America. Sabi niya, kailangan gawin niyo yon sa countries niyo. Kailangan the first concern of every leader is their own citizen.
That's right.
Yan ang sinasabi niya ito. 2020 to. Ito yung ayaw nila, Soros. Ito yung sinasabi nilang failure.
Kasi every country has a right to develop its own way and to look for how to make his people prosperous.
Yes.
That is what sovereignty is all about.
Yes.
And that's what he is doing, and he is asking all the other nations to do the same.
Imagine.
And that is taliwas po yan dito sa one world government. Ang one world government, kami ang mamamahala ng mundo. Bahala kami sa inyong mga buhay, kayong mga lahat ng completely different.
Opposite.
Yeah. So you could see how these powerful people really want him to be taken out, because he is not one of them. That's why the world is right now at a crossroads. Bagamat natanggal si Trump dito sa pagka-presidente ngayon, maraming mga issues na lalabas, nakabinbin para sa darating na panahon. Ano po ba ang maasahan natin? Aangal ba yung tao? Susunod ba sila kay Biden? At pag sumunod sila, anong klaseng kabuhayan ang mangyayari para sa kanila? Hanggang saan nila titiisin ang mga gagawin sa kanila nitong administrasyon ni Biden na ito.
How do we know what a US or the world will look like under a prolonged Biden or after Biden daw, sabi nila si Michelle Obama daw tatakbo rin. How do we know what the world will look like? May clues po tayo. There was this writer in 1949. May sinulat siyang book called 1984. His name was George Orwell. I think we have a picture of him. Can you put him up? Yan ang, well, that's a new, I don't know if that's the original book, no? Pero the name of the book is not in numbers, it's in words, yung 1984. But he wrote this in 1949. Sabi niya,
he lived up to 1950,
1950.
1950.
1903 to 1950.
So, gumawa siya ng libro, ang title, 1984. So, he's looking forward.
He's looking to the future daw. Yan ang prediction niya. What will happen in tapos, marami ng libro yan, marami ng movies also, marami ng so, it's called a dystopian future. Sabi niya, ito yung prediction natin, what will happen. Now, we have another clip that shows actually many things in that book has already come to pass. For this one, it's six quotes of in 1984 that have already come to pass today. So let's watch it first, and then we can comment on it after.
The Times says the project aims to reframe American history.
It is an examination of the United States' origin story, a corrective history. It is designed to kickstart conversations, thus that hashtag I just mentioned, 1619 Project Brunch. Now to some major news out of the NFL. A source telling ESPN that Washington's NFL team retiring its controversial nickname.
The Aunt Jemima brand is getting erased. The name and logo are being dropped from all products, including the iconic pancake mix and maple syrup. Within hours of the Aunt Jemima announcement came word that Uncle Ben's rice would get a new brand identity too.
New tonight, the Phoenix City Council voted to change the name of streets that they find offensive.
Barnes & Noble is facing backlash over its diverse editions of classic novels. Some to mention, like Peter Pan, The Secret Garden, are being displayed with new covers. The characters on the books are being reimagined as different ethnicities. This announcement
Day, Twitter dropping the programming terms master, slave, and blacklist from its code. Master and slave are going to become leader and follower, while blacklist will become deny list.
Watch this.
I have never discriminated on the basis of sexual preference.
Sexual preference is an offensive and outdated term.
So Merriam-Webster, the dictionary, here's the old definition versus the new definition of sexual preference. Before it said orientation, sense, sexual preference. And now, after that exchange between the two of them on Tuesday, now it says offensive, sense, sexual preference. What's your response?
You stupid dinosaur! Get the out of here! I'm sorry, you guys.
That is a child attacking her mother and father for the crime of insufficient loyalty to Black Lives Matter. Here's a 15-year-old from Louisiana called Isabella. There are many like her in America right now.
I literally hate my family so much. It's just, they just try to argue with me that George Floyd they're just trying to tell me that he deserved that because he did something wrong and that it was okay. That is not okay. And it's just making me so upset. I don't know why. I do not want to live here. I hate living in Louisiana. I hate living around these racist. I just want to leave.
Accomplishment.
Think Trump is worse than Hitler?
Yes.
Yeah,
could be.
Definitely.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
He's childish.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
He's trying to stop, food stamps. People need those.
Do you think that ending food stamps is as bad as killing 6 million Jews?
He did that?
Yeah. He killed
That's why he's
Jews.
number
He's
2.
trying to just destroy the planet.
And build that wall, yeah.
They did a Harvard study and actually a judicial system study as well, and they found that there was no racial bias when it came to police shootings last year. When you guys hear that, what does that make you think? Cap.
That's it.
Cap. I did a study that showed that cops are actually 18 times more likely to be killed than an unarmed black man is to be killed by the police. Cap.
Yeah, that is cap.
Let's do it. Do you think the gender wage gap is real?
I do.
How do you stop the gender wage gap?
That's a great question. I think we have to take a look at our government and our understanding of capitalism and consumerism and kind of start working there and work backwards.
If you had like a business, you know what I mean, and they could pay women 77 cents for every dollar that a man would make, that would be like capitalism. So they would hire all women.
I suppose in a sense I'm following what you're saying, but
You can protest all you want, but the I just saw take place. I know there are people out here, homeless people, who rely on those banks to charge their phone. And you think it's okay to take down a neighborhood? You don't see corporations here. There are human beings that live in this neighborhood. You do this in Harlem, you do this in Brooklyn, and I swear on everything. These people in this neighborhood deserve better. And I'm not talking about the gentrification. I'm not talking about students who come here and pay cash to go to NYU. I am talking about the people who go to a methadone clinic down the street. And you think this is a protest?
But in today's culture, just a simple social media post from years ago can prevent you from getting a job. Is that fair?
Tonight, Denver 7's Russell Haythorne goes 360 on the rise of what's being referred to as cancel culture.
You may have never heard the term cancel culture.
It's somewhat of a boycott of a person who has done something that other people find objectionable.
It can also be someone just like you and me.
Putting something out there that can probably offend somebody.
So I often caution people, especially young people, students, about what they place on social media because that is their professional image and picture forever.
Cancel culture is a form of boycott or public shaming of a person who has shared a questionable or unpopular opinion.
Okay, so that was just a video of saying that relating yung mga quotes po na 1984, written by George Orwell. You can watch, may mga synopsis po sa YouTube of 1984, but if you have time and you have a book, I think they sell it naman cheap sa bookstores, maano pong basahin. It's a novel, pero para siyang ano nang nangyayari ngayon. So the biggest thing is they stops free speech.
Yeah. Yung pong 1984 is Mr. Orwell's take on the future, because he was writing this in 1940s, and this is how he saw the U.S. 40 years thereafter. At hindi po siya malayo dun sa kanyang ang tawag niya dystopia. Alam niyo po yung dystopia is the reverse of utopia. No? Utopia is napakaganda, magandang maabot. Yung dystopia naman, ito yung pagbagsak ng isang society. At ang sinasabi niya, this was about the start of the US collapse. No? Nakita niyo po yung kanyang pinapalabas dito sa mga salita niya. At kung ano yung nangyayari ngayon, yung pagpapalit ng mga pangalan, itong mga bata,
rewriting history.
Rewriting history. Itong mga bata, kalaban nila yung mga magulang nila, ayaw nilang magpaturo sa kanilang magulang tungkol dito sa mga issues, yung mga racial issues at ganyan-ganyan. Tapos nakita niyo po yung isang babae galit na galit dahil itong mga ralista,
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter, Antifa, kung ano nang sinisira nila yung neighborhood, sinusunog nila.
Mga negosyo,
Mga negosyo. At yung galit na babae, makikita niyo po, she was black. No? She was black. She was angry at the Black Lives Matter because she said, you are calling it a protest, sabi niya. But you're destroying our way of life, sabi niya. And sabi ng babae, no? So, this is going on, and which means the anarchy, the level of anarchy is starting to increase. By now, ganyan na po. Ito na po at ito po mangyari. Just the other day or yesterday, nabalitaan po natin dito sa Antifa, sa Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Sumugod itong mga Antifa sa loob ng simbahan. Merong service doon in celebration of the infant children. At binabless doon yung mga bata doon. Sumugod dito mga Antifa at sinisigawan daw yung mga pari doon para mahinto yung ceremonies, no? Sa loob ng simbahan. Sinugod nila. At yung isa pa yatang babae doon ay sinaktan nila, no? Ganyan po ang level of anarchy sa mga tao para po silang mga sirang ulo na at napasukan na po ng kademonyohan at wala na pong civility. Ayaw nila yung hindi sapat sa kanila nagproprotesta sa labas para marinig ang kanilang kanilang karaingan. They have to come in and destroy and prevent the practice of worship and the practice of business and the practice of the previous way of life. They want to destroy that.
Kung maalala po natin dun sa protest na yun na nangyayari, which happened in 2020 by Black Lives Matter and Antifa, pati yung mga simbahan sinusunog, pati yung mga estatwa tinatanggal po nila. Gusto nila i-rewrite daw yung history kasi daw ang Amerika, ang gusto nila ipairal, yung Amerika daw lumaki dahil sa slavery. And therefore, may utang yung mga white people, which is pagputi ka, may utang ka sa kanila. Yan ang pinapupush nila. And ang unang-unang pinakita dun sa video, ang pinupush, sinusugod po nila ang tinatawag na 1619 Project. Now, ang 1619 Project po, inilagay nila Obama yon, si Clinton, tsaka nila Bush. Turuan, parang ito yung bagong history sa mga bata. Ito yung talaga daw history ng Amerika. Nung nag-upo si Trump, sabi niya, we will take that out. That's not mandatory learning, yung 1619 Project. Kasi ang daming mali, hindi historical, tapos po very biased. So sabi niya, nagpatayo siya ng 1776 Project. On the day na isinilang yung nation ng Amerika. Yan ang dapat ituro daw sa mga bata, yung real American history. Hindi yung mga pinapasukan ng mga ibang ideya o ibang mga kasinungalingan sa kanilang kasaysayan. And so he pushed this. Now, isa sa mga unang order ni Biden, ibinalik ulit sa 1619 Project. Kasi wala siyang pakialam sa history ng Amerika. Yan ang gusto niyang tanggalin. Now, when you don't teach your nation your proper history, you are raising a generation of anarchy. You are raising a generation of I don't know how to describe them because they're not going to be Filipinos, for example, if you don't teach them the proper Filipino history.
Kasi yung pag-iisip po nila na ang US was developed out of slavery. Actually, the reverse was the situation because the new constitution was all men are created equal. Yun ang sinasabi po sa Declaration of Independence. All men under God are created equal. No? So sabihin, dapat wala. At bagamat meron mga ibang mga lugar sa Amerika noon na gustong patuloy ang practice of slavery. Kasi yung kanilang mga pag-aaring agriculture, gusto nilang napakamura ng labor. Kanya slave labor ang itong mga negro, ini-import nila buhat sa Africa para cotton pick, no?
Yes, yes.
Dahil mura ang harvesting, mas madali nilang maibenta sa Inglaterra. Ngayon, yung ibang lugar sa Amerika noon, ayaw na nito because all men are created equal. Kaya nagkaroon po ng civil war sa Amerika. At pinamumunuan ng presidente noon ay si Abraham Lincoln. At siya po ang namumuno doon sa abolitionists. Ito yung they want to abolish slavery. Yung pong mga nasa South, gusto nila ituloy ang slavery, no? Kasi nga mas mura ang labor, no? Mas maibebenta nila. Kanya ang sumusuporta dito sa mga Southerners ang mga British. Kasi po pag nitulungan nila at patuloy ang slavery, mura ang kanilang bili sa mga gagamitin nila sa paggawa ng tela, no? Ngayon, kanya tinutulungan ng British itong mga slavery. Dahil sila rin ang nagbebenta ng mga slaves. No? Ngayon, nagkaroon sila ng revolution at natalo nga itong mga Southerners. Kanya meron silang emancipation of the slaves. So, yan po ang history, di ba? Ngayon, gusto nilang palitan yan. Ang sinasabi na buhat noon una, 1619, hanggang ngayon, lumaki daw ang Amerika dahil daw sa pag-iisip ng slavery. Kanya may utang daw ang Amerika sa mga
ancestors,
sa mga itim. Ngayon, makikita nyo po, itong mga ibang mga politiko sa Amerika ngayon, lalong-lalo na yung mga black politicians, congressmen, they're saying that it is okay for this Black Lives Matter to destroy and loot the businesses because the America owes them what should have been theirs in the first place.
Sirain nila, i-loot nila.
I-loot nila because
sila.
Dahil utang ng Amerika sa inyo yan. Ito yung twisted thinking ngayon na nagpapairal dito sa mga tauhan na kumakampi kay Biden.
Yes.
No?
Yes.
We have to understand that these are the things that needed to be brought out even during the campaign. No? And to some point it was, kanya lang, marami kasing itong mainstream media, sinisira itong mga issues na ito para hindi malaman ng tao. No? It is not just a Trump versus Biden. This is a concept whether the U.S. will continue to be a republic formed under the 1776 Declaration of Independence, or destroy the republic and make it something else in the same degree as they wanted to destroy it, so that it will be the main force in a one-world government.
Right. And then, importante po dyan, tinatanggal rin nila yung konsepto na sumama sa pagtaguyod or i-establish po yung United States of America under these ideas. Gusto nilang i-erase po yun. Kinusabi nilang cancel culture. I-erase nyo yan kasi puro mga puti lang naman ang gumanon nun. Ang naglikha nun or nag-isip ng ganyan. That all men are created equal under God and have the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Ayaw nilang pairalin yun. Ayaw nilang turuan yun. Gusto nila, hindi, dito tayo, nung slave owner sila, doon sila tumayo. Kaya nga nagtayo sila ng ganyan dahil sa reaction na ganyan. Dahil sa pagka-slaves, pagka-cotton, pag gusto nila mag-industrialize yung kanilang bansa. So they got together and formed a nation. The very first nation state, I think, in Republican nation state in history. Gusto nila tanggalin. Itong sila Biden, yan ang gagawin. And he's already also issued another order na bawasan na malaki ang defense budget, Department of Defense budget, na tinaas po ni Trump during his term. So these are the issues now. So siyempre parang nag-aano yung mga lahat ng even in America, they are the workers, the factory workers, the ones that got jobs. Kasi po, remember po, ina-outsource yan sa China, yung manufacturing and other countries. Binalik po ni Trump yan. Remember po, bago mag-COVID, ano yung ginawa ni Trump? Meron silang trade deal with China na $250 billion before COVID. Nung nag-COVID, nawala na yung trade deal na yon. A lot of it has to do with reciprocal. Sige, gagawa kami, bibilin din kami sa inyo. Ang sabi kasi ni Trump, hindi patas yung labanan. So binalik niya yung trabaho sa US with a lot of infrastructure plans and projects. Nagkaroon ng trabaho yung mga mamamayan. Binaba niya yung medicine. In-increase niya yung mga tax credits ng mga tao para hindi ganun kabigat. Diba? And like he said, he is pro-life. That is the basic thing I think we should remember all the time, that he is pro-life, and he said each country should be strong. Each leader should prioritize his citizens above all. Yan ang sinasabi po niya. So we can draw parallelism ba dito sa Pilipinas? Do you feel na tayo ba pino-prioritize ng ating gobyerno? Do you feel it? Do you feel that they're making our lives better? Sabi nga niya, if you invest in your own citizens, your value will go up because your citizens will in turn trust the government and invest their hard-earned money. Hindi sila aalis. Hindi sila mag-ano because and then by that time tataas yung value ng bansa nyo. Tataas yung standard of living in your own country. If your government invests in your own citizens. Hindi ina-outsource, hindi pinapadala sa other countries, form of OFW. Hindi ganon. Dapat dito sa Pilipinas, magtayo tayo ng mga energy projects, infrastructure projects. Yan ang sinasabi ni Trump. Yan ang sinasabi niya, kailangan dito sa sarili niyong bansa. And that will not cause war. That will cause peace between countries. And yung last line niya po sa speech niya sa 2020 sa World Economic Forum is, each of you will have to determine, each of your countries have to determine your own economic program. Hindi kami makikialam sa inyo. And kausap po niya sa World Economic Forum yung mga globalists, yung mga New World Order. So parang nire-reiterate niya, ito yung kailangan gawin. Nagawa pa sa Amerika. Ngayon, itong si Biden, binabaliktad po niya. As of now, yan ang nakikita po natin. So, but again, there are a lot of things that are happening, including, curious, itong sa COVID. Nagpalabas ang WHO, I think 48 hours after umupo si Biden, after the inauguration, naglabas yung WHO. I think we have a graphic there, yeah. Nagbigay siya ng bagong information kumbaga, guidance about PCR tests. Of course, you can look at it in the WHO website. Alam mo sinasabi doon, yung PCR test pala, hindi ganun ka-accurate. Kasi, masyadong calibrated to declare positive. Talagang hahanapin niya at ibibigay niyang positive. Kahit asymptomatic ka, kahit ano. Remember po, yung naglabas tayo ng news report, diba, last year, long ago, like August, or na sinasabi na sobra-sobra ang calibration, yung cycles po, I think it's 40,000 or something. Whether, pero sabi nila, pag close to 30,000, sobra-sobra na yon. Pero sinobra nila lahat ng PCR test para umakyat yung mga kaso. Now, when this WHO advisory came out and said, sobra na yung mga PCR tests, it's too high. Parang inaamin nila na too high na, so hindi accurate. What will that happen? The effect of that is the lowering of the numbers of cases. Yeah. As positive. And makikita 2 days after Biden sits. And 2 days after Biden sits, sinasabi na ng mga governors of New York, Chicago, Michigan, and other states, California, sabi nila, kailangan buksan na yung mga businesses natin. Hindi pwedeng manatiling sarado. Alaala nyo po, sila lang yung closed during the campaign, during 2020, before the election. Kakaupo lang ni Biden. Ngayon, baliktad na sila mag-isip. And I think recently, even the IATF, or the government, is easing restrictions on quarantine.
Kasi nakikita po nila at siyempre gumagaya din sila sa WHO. Wala naman tayong mga mahusay mag-isip dito eh. Si Duque, ang tauhan niya na sa CDC at WHO. At susundan nila kung anong direksyon. No?
Right.
Pero expected po nila na mga tao ito kasi ginamit daw nila yung COVID pandemic para tamaan si Trump para maibintang sa kanya yung pagdami ng mga may sakit. Pagkatapos nung naipasok na nila si Biden, umpisay na nilang bawasan ang mga nagkakasakit kasi statistical lang naman yan eh, no? At meron siguradong may namamatay, no? Sabi pa nga nung iba manufactured lang yung disease na yan eh, gawa-gawa ng tao. Hindi talagang natural yung sakit na yan kapalit ng trangkaso, yung ibang trangkaso, colds, ano yan, natural. Pero ito, parang meron siyang ginawa para kumalat at magkaroon ng pandemic. Tapos tinakot nila mga populasyon. Lockdown. At dahil nag-lockdown, nawalan ng trabaho, nahirapan ng taong bayan, at binintang nila ngayon kay Trump. So pagkatapos nitong eleksyon, uumpisahan na nilang magbawasan ang mga lockdown at mga ganyan, tapos para ma-credit kay Biden. Pag si Biden mas maganda ang patakbo, ganyan.
Saka doon nila pinupush yung Great Reset. Yung kanilang Build Back Better, which is part of the Great Reset. That's the whole, yan ang laro. So, parang ginawa nila ito, ngayon may excuse sila, sabihin, kailangan mag-reset tayo. Look, yung sa amin, how many decades of being with the Philippine LaRouche Society, Save the Nation, tsaka mag-research po kayo, dati pa sinasabi ni Chairman ito, that the world economy, the world financial and monetary system, is bankrupt across the board, and we can discuss this on another show, no? But basically, it's all paper. Okay? Kasi imprenta sila ng pera. Wala nang value yan. Nilalaro-laro na lang nila. Okay? Na matagal na. So parang lumalabas, and this is just my opinion, not necessarily KBP yet, but parang lumalabas, nakakita sila ng way or excuse to do a reset, tas palitan yung buong sistema nilang bangkarote. Pero sila pa rin ang namumuno. So ito yung pinupush ng mga World Economic Forum, si Davos, ito yung mga elite, ito yung mga bankero, ito yung mga oligarko sa mundo. Sinasabi nila, sira na lahat dahil sa COVID. Maski na sira na yan dati pa. Ginamit nila yung COVID, sabihin nila, reset tayo. Start from zero. Pero kami yung nasa taas. Kami mas maligaya. Pero kayo maligaya ka rin kasi hindi nyo alam kung ano yung you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
Parang ganun na nangyayari. So, you have a comment
But
on
the
that?
underlying thing also there is one world government needs which is globalizing fascism. No?
Yes.
Fascism means a world that is ruled by a few. No? And it is not the choice of the people, but their choice that how the world is gonna go. No? Ito yung kanya sinabi doon kanina, there should be a slight inclusion of Marxism
in capitalism.
In capitalism. What they really mean is there will be fascist measures to be taken.
Yes.
Now, sa atin po, hindi pa natin nararamdaman. Pero yung fascist measures na yan, utos yan. Magiging batas nila yan. Ikaw, kailangan, kung pagdating mo sa 70 anyos, dapat hindi ka na susuportahan ng gobyerno at hindi nabibili ng mga gamot mo, bahala ka na kung mabubuhay ka o hindi.
Right.
Meron pong ganyan klase. Tapos sasabihin nila, kayo mga bata, kinakailangan ang population every family, ito, nangyari na to, should have only one child. No?
One child policy.
One child policy para mabawasan din ang populasyon. At mababawasan din yung mga taong susuportahan ng gobyerno sa kanilang pag-aaral tsaka sa kanilang kalusugan. Kasi po, ang tao from the year 1 years old up to 20 years old, sumusuporta dyan ng gobyerno, free education, no? Tapos kinakailangan bibigyan mo din ng free health, katulad po nitong mga etong mga vaccination.
Right.
So sa gobyerno, masyadong magastos yan. Bawasan mo yung mga taong ganyan, hindi masyadong magastos. Yung mga taong 70 years old and above, huwag mo nang tulungan, pabayaan mo na silang mamatay. Huwag mo na lang bigyan ng social security. Ang bibigyan mo lang ng tulong yung mga taong nagtatrabaho.
No? Na benefit sa state.
Right. Okay. Etong ganitong klaseng programa, pwede pong i-impose nila ito at malamang itong i-impose nila. No? Kasi ganyan po ang fascism eh. Yung programang yan, kanino ba yan nakita natin? Kay Adolf Hitler. No? Ang tawag nila dito yung useless eaters. No? You are a useless eater because you are not producing anything and yet you are consuming.
Kumakain ka. Kailangan gamutin ka.
Pero hindi ka nagpo-produce, hindi ka nagtatrabaho.
Kasi may matanda ka na.
Kasi bata ka pa o matanda ka na. No? Kaya kinakailangan, kung hindi ka tumutulong, mabawasan ang populasyon dyan. Diyan po nila inaatak yung ganyang klaseng policy. At in many cases around the world right now, as we speak, this is being implemented. Under the guise of all kinds of things. No? Pero yan po yung policy nila. It is a depopulation policy. Dito po sa atin, tanong nyo po dyan kila Ben Jokno, kila Sunny Dominguez, at kung sino pang mga ekonomista dyan. baka pwede niyo din po itanong sa ating Pangulo,
Yes.
ito ba ang policy mo, Mr. President? Is this your policy to depopulate the Philippines? That is why you do not want to help the people shoulder electricity bills and water bills and all that.
Kasi pahirap ng pahirap.
Is this what you want? That you want more of us to die, Mr. President? Ito ba ang payo sa iyo ng inyong mga advisors na sinusundan mo? No? So we have to ask them that, no? Because without even getting direct answers from them, you just look at what is happening.
Yes.
You can determine, you can detect what the truth is. No? You don't need to be shown in writing, eto ang aking programa, papatayin ko kayo lahat. Hindi mo naman makikita yun eh. Makikita mo lang sa mga ang desisyon at ang mga programang pinapairal nila. Then you will know what the policy is.
Right.
So as we speak now, but these were all going to be institutionalized in the one world government.
Actually, based on I just want to react to your statement, Chairman. It sounds like what's being done to us, specifically sa Philippines, because it's our personal experience, we're following the advice of Bertrand Russell and Thomas Malthus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're actually following. Pag binasa niyo po sila, sinusundan natin, parang nagiging policy ng gobyerno natin.
Kaya sinasabi ko, ang mga pinaka-dangerous people dito sa atin, itong mga economic advisors ng mga mamahalaan, buhat ng panahon ni Corazon Aquino hanggang ngayon. No? Hanggang ngayon kay Duterte. All of these economic advisors are the most dangerous people. Because they are genocidal, they are depopulationists. And they will come up with policies for the presidents to implement without telling him exactly what is going to go on. No? They talk to him about the good statistics like GDP and all of that bullshit which is manufactured. But they will not tell him how much suffering it is causing the people. They will not tell him that they are dying. The population mortality rate is increasing because people are going hungry and they're getting sick and they will die.
Right. I think we have I don't know kung may naka-reserve akong siyempre our tech team has to pull it out. No? Pero yung, remember Bertrand Russell, Chairman, yung quote niya, I think the population and the bomb yata yun eh. I think there is I'm not sure kung nalagay ko dyan, but I remember it clearly in my head. Na, sabi ni Bertrand Russell, who was an advisor to Truman and a British philosopher, sabi nila very smart and he wanted peace, pero medyo sinister. Alam mo naman mga to, they come in the best packages. But Bertrand Russell said, and there was a quote about population, if we cannot increase wars, kasi sabi niya, pinakamalaking problema ng human is overpopulation. If we cannot increase wars, we will do other things. Instead of putting people in sanitary conditions, you increase disease. Instead of increasing, planting more food, you plant less food. So may mga ways sila to put the population down.
Sabi na nga,
diba?
Basically, sabi na, there is overpopulation and wars have not done enough to kill people. There must be a way. There must be something said about pharmaceuticals, number one. Anong ibig niya sabihin sa pharmaceuticals? Gusto sabihin, gamitin mo yung chemical warfare. Baka mas marami kang mapatay. No? Pangalawa, siguro dahil maraming masyadong tao, ito sinasabi mo ito, bawasan mo yung pagkain na pinoproduce mo para gutumin ng tao. Yan po itong si Bertrand Russell. They said, at least LaRouche has said, and we believe it, he's one of the most evil men that ever lived. No? Bertrand Russell. Let me read it. Ano yung mga yung
Sige, is there a quote?
Kanina, meron ako nakita text.
Sige, inayos pa ng text. And this guy, also, there is an actual award in UP.
Yes.
Right?
In the award, it's
there
is a
grant
organization called the Bertrand Russell Foundation. No? At ang namuno nito ay si dating presidente ng UP, si Nemesio,
Francisco Nemenso.
At ang ginagawa po nito, pumipili ng mga iba-ibang mga scholars sa UP at pinapadala po sa London ng mga 6 months bayad under the Bertrand Russell Foundation. At tinuturo po sa kanila, itong mga ganitong galing sa kay Bertrand Russell, no? Laban po sa populasyon. Meron din po siyang mga salita na sinasabi niya kung paano magko-control ng society. How to control societies. You can control societies in 3 different ways. Ito muna, babasahin ko muna po. Nawala na naman. But bad times, you may say, are exceptional, and you can be dealt with by exceptional methods. This has been more or less true during the honeymoon period of industrialism. But it will not remain true unless the increase of population can be enormously diminished. At present, the population of the world is increasing at about 58,000 per day. War so far, ito yung nasabi natin, war so far has had not very great effect on this increase, which continued through each of the world wars. War has hitherto been disappointing in this respect. Kulang pa daw ang gera sa pagbabawas ng populasyon. But perhaps, bacteriological war may prove more effective. Bacteriological war, parang germ warfare. Magkalat ka ng disease. If a Black Death, ano po yung Black Death? Ito yung
European plague, the plague.
Yung nabawasan ng population ng Europe by 50%. Sabi niya, if a Black Death could spread throughout the world once in every generation, survivors could procreate freely without making the world too full. The state of affairs might be somewhat unpleasant, but what of it? Really high-minded people are indifferent to happiness, especially other people's. Can you imagine? Yan po is a direct quote from Bertrand Russell. Hindi ba sirang ulo yan? And yet, yan po ang sinusundan ng marami pong tao. Kasama na rin yung ating mga tao dito sa academics. No? Sabi nila, academics, Bertrand Russell Foundation. Hindi nila alam. Alam nila na ganito kasama itong tao nito. Kanina, sabi ko, isa sa mga sinasabi niya, how to control societies. You can control them in 3 different ways, sabi niya. Number 1, you can use the press or the media. Wala siyang word media, press. Dahil ang gagawin mo sa press, you just make propaganda. Magsiwalat ka ng kasinungalingan. Dahil pag hindi nila alam ang kasinungalingan at pinapropaganda mo, madadala mo sila, may influence mo sila.
Mga mass media.
Oo, mass media. Pangalawa, paano mong influence ang society? magpatayo ka ng mga iba-ibang religion, no? Kulto, mga iba-ibang kulto, kanya-kanya. Tapos dito sa mga kultong to, dito mo ipasok yung mga gusto mong paiwating
Yung mga
sa
philosophy.
gusto mong ipaiwating sa tao. So that because the people go to religion, no? And when you get that yung pangatlo sabi niya is education. But in education, sabi niya, you must be able to get the children at especially tender age of 10 years old, no, or below. And when they are there, you must be able to teach them, tell them that snow is black. In other words, turuan mo sila ng kasinungalingan. Kabaliktaran sa katotohanan. You tell them that snow is black. At sabihin mo itong sa marami. At pag mayroong bata na magsasabi, hindi totoo yan, black, ang snow is white, ibagsak mo. Tanggalin mo siya sa eskwela. At takutin mo. That way, ang ginagawa mo dito sa mga bata na lumalaki sila, ang kanilang pundasyon kasinungalingan. Pag ang pundasyon nila kasinungalingan, mas madali na silang i-control. Because they don't know the truth. No? And this is exactly what is happening to many societies now. To us here in the Philippines. Dagdagan pa natin yung quote kay Bertrand Russell kasi meron pang importante. He says, I think this subject, which will be of most importance politically, is mass psychology. Its importance has been enormously increased by the growth of modern methods of propaganda. Of these, the most influential is what is called education. Religion plays a part, though a diminishing one. The press, the cinema, and the radio play an increasing part. It may be hoped that in time, anybody will be able to persuade anybody of anything if he can catch the patient young and is provided by the state with the money and equipment. The subject will make great strides when it is taken up by scientists under a scientific dictatorship. Meron pa ba? Ito naman, tapusin na natin. The social psychologists of the future will have a number of classes of school children on whom they will try different methods of producing an unshakable conviction that snow is black. Various results will soon be arrived. First, that the influence of home is obstructive. Pag sinabi mo daw sa bata, snow is black, pag uwi niya, sasabihin sa kanya ng magulang na hindi totoo yan. So sasabihin na, ang influence ng bahay is obstructive, masama. Second, that not much can be done unless indoctrination begins before the age of 10. Third, that verses set to music and repeatedly intoned are very effective. Verses set to music. Nakikita nyo na po yung constant na parang para kang hypnotized ng mga words sa mga kanta-kanta. Alam nyo na po ito mga ito. And fourth, that the opinion that snow is white must be held to show a morbid taste of eccentricity.
For eccentricity. You want to go?
Ano pa?
But I anticipate. Sige, tapusin natin. Last na. But I anticipate it is for future scientists to make these maxims precise and discover exactly how much it costs per head to make children believe that the snow is black. Hindi ako magdedetermine yung future na. And how much less it would cost to make them believe it is dark gray. Although this science will be diligently studied, it will be rigidly confined to the governing class. The populace will not be allowed to know how its convictions were generated. When the technique has been perfected, every government that has been in charge of education for a generation will be able to control its subjects securely without the need of armies and policemen. So that is the impact of science on society, 1953, by Bertrand Russell.
Yan po, nakikita nyo kung gaano kasama yung tao. No? At ang sinasabi niya, ito daw ang kinakailangan daw gawin para makontrol po ang isang society.
But it sounds like 1984.
Ngayon,
It sounds like
it's happening now.
No, I know, but at that time, it sounds like it's the same thinking of all of them. Na this is what we have to do. This is what society is. And ngayon po, remember po, the day after elections, binan po nila si Trump sa Twitter, sa Facebook, lahat. They control the information. Who is a scientific dictatorship today? Di ba WHO? Or the big pharma? CDC. Kailangan sundan nyo sila, huwag kayong mag-question. Huwag tayo mag-question. Hindi kayo depend. Tapos pag nag-question kayo, conspiracy theories po kayo. Hindi kayo di ba?
Yung snow is black. Walang dayaan sa election. Walang dayaan. Yan ang snow is black. Na kung maniniwala ka na may dayaan, gusto sabihin tatanggalin ka, napakasira ng ulo mo. No? At yun po ang kanilang itinutulak. Anyone who believes that snow is not black, no?
Kumbaga, yung totoo,
believe the truth will be considered eccentric, out of society. No? Ganyan po, tinan nyo ang nangyayari.
Yes.
Ibang klaseng katotohanan ng pinapapukpok nila sa taong bayan.
Mainstream media.
Maski harap-harapan, alam natin kasinungalingan. Hindi ba snow is black is a lie? It's a blatant lie that snow is black. That's why this guy used that example to make it very clear that no matter how much a lie is, basta ipukpok mo sa tao, no, yun ang papaniwalaan nila.
Good. Sige, we can read our messages. We have about 10 minutes left. Let's read our messages from our message senders from YouTube. And I like and subscribe po sa YouTube natin, ha?
Okay.
Habang nandito pa tayo. Clitos Espuerta, Congreso Senior. Good evening po. Parang nanganganib ang Israel at mga allies nito ngayon si Biden. Si Biden, ang presidente. Hindi kaya apektado rin ng Pinas?
Of course, apektado po tayo.
Buong mundo.
Delikado po tayo. Tatandaan niyo po, si Biden walang ibang gagawin yan kundi ipagpatuloy yung gagamitin ng Pilipinas para iudyukin ang China. No? Etong mga taong hindi nakakaintindi na kaibigan ni Biden ang China, magdalawang isip po sila, hindi po ganyan. Ang problema dito, gagamitin tayo para tayong bala sa kanyon panglaban sa China. At pag nagkagulo, ang unang-unang siyempre tatamaan dito ay ang bansang Pilipinas. Nasa ating pong presidente na maintindihan itong gagawin nila. Kanya importante na lumihis tayo dyan at huwag tayong papayag.
Angelo Reda, good evening po Sir Butch Valdes watching from Malolos. Redlex Edyanol Dayola, good evening po Chairman Butch at Sir Ritos watching from Zambales. Di po ba si Biden ay isa na lang clone Sir Butch at si Nancy Pelosi ay arrested na po before inauguration? Totoo ba po ito, sir?
Hindi natin alam po yan. Kanya marami pong ganyan na lumalabas. Ang gawin natin po, again, kung ililihis mo ang tao sa katotohanan, mas makokontrol mo. Kanya steady lang po tayo, maghintay po tayo kung anong mangyayari. But wag tayo pong masyadong padala dito sa mga iba-ibang klaseng balita. No?
Right. Tsaka continue po. Abangan po natin. We will look for ways to find the truth. Lalabas at lalabas po yan eventually. Rose Riolada, pakiat lang. Good evening po, Sir Butch and Sir Itos. Mabuhay po ang ating katipunan ng demokratiyong Pilipino. Sana po ipagpatuloy ni Trump and what he said is draining the swamp. Sa iba pong radio stations, still something is happening till March, which may see Trump as the 17th president, not the 45th president. Nakita na rin namin yan, Rose. Yes, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of things happening behind the scenes po. What we can be assured of now is that marami po ang nangyayari behind the scenes. So, abangan po natin. Virgie Rosas Ariola, yan na naman nangyayari dito. Unti-unti pinapatay ang mahihirap. Pero hindi lang mahihirap. Pati yung mga tao, yung mga negosyo, namamatay na rin. So, this is what's happening with the result of COVID and lockdown. Freddy Oredina, 1.3% death rate and 98% survival recovery rate without vaccine. Puro bakuna news. Putol kuryente problema. If all of us have no power, there will be no economic activity. No workers going to work, no transport drivers going to work, children, senior citizens sick, etc. Without Rev Gov, Duterte must execute Article 12 of 87 Constitution. Oust greedy oligarchs, rent seekers from public utilities. Junk EPILA law. Of course, we agree. Giancarlo UI, there are 20 reasons masking is dangerous, ineffective, and immoral. Yan, naglagay siya ng link chat. Gloria Rodriguez Siebert. Gandang gabi po sa inyo, Sir Butch, sa Itos, watching and sharing your live streaming from Germany.
Thank you.
Nice. Anacela Watson, good evening, sir. Sir, come to think of the inauguration of Biden. DC is not part of America, like Vatican and London City. Washington, D.C. is not part of America. United States of America Corporation expired 2011. And so an election and inauguration in a dissolved corporation U.S. is illegal. Maybe she looked 2021. 11:49 a.m. swearing in a president is illegal, and Washington, D.C. or America is in military control.
There are reports po na yan ang sinasabi Ms. Watson. At bagamat ako gusto kong mangyari yung sinasabi ninyo, wala pa tayong talagang confirmation. At sa akin po, no news is good news pagdating po dito. Kasi po kung totoong may control na ang military dito sa mga taong ito at hindi nila pinapabayan na mag-leak ang kanilang mga ginagawa at mga plano, basta isang araw magigising na lang tayo, nagawa na nila yung kinakailangan gawin. Sana po ganyan, no? Dahil so far ito pong mga importanteng tao na dapat naririnig na natin, katulad po ni General Flynn at si Attorney Sidney Powell, at ito si General Hayten. Itong mga ito ay hindi pa natin naririnig. Parang tago at meron pong parang nangyayari at may pinaplano. While it's there, let us just wait and be watchful and listen and keep your ears on the ground to see what might happen.
Okay, Edgar Cordova. Bertrand Russell will again be remembered just like Soros.
Yes, well,
I think Soros is actually following whatever Bertrand Russell says, who's following whatever says, tapos pati si Malthus.
Yeah.
So lahat sila ganun mag-isip. Gerald Jewels, good evening, good morning from US. Biden and Democrats have anti-God, anti-Constitution, and America last policy.
Right.
It looks like it. Yes, that's what Mao's Cultural Revolution 1966 to 76 did. Mao caused over 75 million deaths. Yun na nga. Norma Arcilia, just new here from Balanga City, Bataan. Oy, hello, Norma. Raf XB, good evening, my dear respectable gentleman. That's a laugh by Soros the genocider. All he says is fake. There you go. Angelito Chico, gusto ko po i-follow kayo kasi sa radyo ko lagi napapakinggan. Okay.
That's right. Mag-ano ka lang sa YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe ka lang sa YouTube.
Mel Elizalde, maraming salamat po sa makabuluhang paliwanag sa totoong nangyayari sa eleksyon na ganap sa Amerika. Mabuhay po kayo. God bless po.
Thank you.
Venus Ramos, good evening mga sir. Pwede po malaman ang update S-blog niyo po ng nakaraan na sinasabi niyo huliin lahat ng nandaya kay President Trump. At sinabi niyo ba sa blog niyo na magkakaroon ng civil state war? Salamat mga sir sa kaalaman niyo ang lahat po nangyayari sa buong mundo. Ang Panginoong Jesus siya lamang may power para parusahan ang lahat ng masamang balakid.
Hindi ko alam kung saan nyo ang blog na nabasa ninyo. Kung minsan po meron tayong post. Pero we never confirm these things. We only share the news that we also receive. No? At hindi necessarily na agad-agad katotohanan yon. Ito lang po yung mga bali-balita. Then napakadami pong mga bali-balita. At wala tayong kakayanan masabi kung ito na nga ang mangyayari o hindi. Yan.
Tsaka hindi po namin sinasabi na magsi-civil war. Ayaw natin yun. So, Jane Valdes, hirap na magsalita itong si Soros malapit ng matigok. Parang buhay na buhay pa ito si Soros. Fegorin, good evening po sa inyo. Thank you po for informative ideas. Praying for you mga sir, for your perseverance and enthusiasm for truth. Chintaro Bella Bursena Dumawa. Ala, Pinas ang nangyayari. President sa kanila, sa atin, Vice President. God bless po sa inyo. Jerry Magbag, mabuhay po kayo. Chona Ladera, allowing the new caravan the U.S. will mean additional burden on taxpayers, especially those near the borders. 2 of our relatives just moved their families out of California. Okay. I agree that they are trying to rewrite history. I've listened to American vloggers talk about books have began to be off limits in libraries. Only digitized ones are made available. Until when? Correct. They're canceling their history. William Banico, itong dalawang ulupong na ito, kala mo napakatalino kung magpaliwanag. Bakit kayo kumandidato ang pagkasenador para makatulong kayong dalawa sa bansa?
Wala ka na ibang magawa kundi gumanyan magbatikos. Tsaka pag magbatikos ka, sana meron naman alam, meron naman sa blog. If you have disagreements with what we're saying, sabihin nyo, saan ba kayo nagdi-disagree? Huwag naman yung ganito, parang napakaliit ng utak ninyo no? Pero palagay ko naman matalino din kayo, di ba?
LV Marquez, good evening po. Ronaldo Valencia, you own nothing but you are happy. Parang nalitiw po ako doon, Sir Butch.
Okay na nga. Pero itong sasabihin nila sa inyo, you own nothing but you will be happy.
Wilfredo Cortez, yan pala si George Surot, may-ari ng Dominion at sa Smartmatic.
Yes.
And we will have more videos of this guy in the coming episodes. Rain, mga sir, tinignan ko sa website ng Federal Register na walang EO na pinimrahan si Joe Dementia Biden. Mapa hanggang ngayon. Klaus Schwab, Soros, Rockefeller, Gates, sila ang gumawa ng programang COVID-19 patungo sa Great Reset sa buong mundo. Hoping sana hindi sila magtagumpay. Sir Itos, have you heard about Trump has repealed Act of 1871 US Inc. no longer exists? Again, that's what we're hearing, no? From different sources. Ito po yung parang lumalabas. And we've done research. Actually, marami na akong dina-download na dokumento. And it's plausible.
May base.
So na hindi po natin alam. Pati ako, nag-research na rin. But it's exciting to see. And we will know when it comes out. So, but what we know for sure is marami pong nangyayari behind the scenes. Elmer Ecleo, good evening po, Prof. Valdes. Jordan Pringles, buti pa sa Australia, disagree at lalaban. Sa Pilipinas, si President Duterte mismo nagtutulak sa mga Pinoy sa edge ng bangin. Yan ata yung interview na may boots na militar na tinatapakan yung tao sa ulo. Shirley Dangan, mga ulupong sila lang ang happy dahil kukunin nila lahat ng ari-arian natin sa pinaghirapan natin. Yep. Angelo Solano, the Great Reset equals tribulation. Grabe script ng mga kabals, gawing produkto lang ang ordinaryong tao. Edston Pesito, U.S. Constitution can no longer hold water. Quote, the future does not belong to globalists, it belongs to the patriots. Unquote.
That's right.
We will have that segment next week. Romualdo Aguinaldo, good evening mga sir, mga kademonyohan, kaisipan nila, feeling nila pag-aaral nila ang mundo. Tamaan sana kayo ng COVID. Nikhan yung mga kabal. Fake President Biden, sisirain lahat ng magandang project ni President Trump. Well, let's see. But yan ang intention niya. Anacela Watson, Cornwall, sir. Yes, I've been in Cornwall, sir. It is the state of Great Britain. Administrator lang siya kasi doon ang agreement nila ng British government. Cornwall. Hilaria Sarte, how come all work in the government before they start their duty oath with Bible in front of people and they say, in God we trust, and they do fraudulent? Yan. Pati dito naman eh. Ernie Alvaran, mga taga-GMA News, wala ka alam about the Great Reset, New World Order, or binabawalan lang sila mag-management about this thing. Pati yung involvement nila Bill Gates and Butch. Takot ba sila magtanong sa ating ganitong issue na may interview sila mga taga-gobyerno? Mix po yan, Ernie, kasi I worked in the newsrooms of ABS and before. May standard po, may standard story na kailangan to stick to. Lalo na pag international news, hindi ka pwede tapos pag may nilabas kang mga hindi nasa Reuters or Associated Press, parang pagsasabihan ka ng boss na wag yan, ito lang yung official. So ganun na rin. So, but I'm sure a lot of journalists and a lot of reporters are looking into this already privately. They might not have been able to bring it out lang. Emmanuel Guina, it is amusing to watch, quote, The Simpson predictions. In their numerous episodes, they made unintended predictions that actually come true. Yung Simpsons na cartoon. One of them is the presidency of Trump. In another episode, they showed Trump's successor being a woman, not a man as Biden. Some say this is accurate because Biden presidency is everything and anything but Biden's because Harris is the one actually calling the shots. Directed by Barack Obama on his, quote, third term of office. Eerie, but may actually be happening. Yes, I've gone through that. It's called predictive programming. Maraming tinatawag na ganon. But not just the Simpsons, but other cartoons that are written and owned by these large media corporations. So it's just funny that it turns out that way. Fortunato Corpus, yes, Biden is the president of corporation from London and Vatican. Trump is the true president of the American nation. Glenn Buan, the Kabbalah started destabilizing Russia through a series of violent protests. The siege of world power has begun. They're creating chaos. Arok Ali, good evening po, Joe Biden, George Soros, Dr. Fauci, and our own Duque distinctively have the same facial features. What's probably lacking is a pair of horns on their heads. Yes, vaccine is one way of depopulating the world. He's an atheist, which explains why he lacks empathy. Like in the song Imagine by John Lennon. Right. Not just an atheist, alam niyo na. Nena Asuncion, hello, watching from Sydney, Australia. Back Cafe Auto Rickshaw. Good evening, Sir Butch, Sir Itos. Quote, we will be back in some form. President Donald J. Trump. Josie Velasquez, good evening. Shout out po, more power from watching from Italy. Hello, Josie. Sir Hazade Alonto. Ganyan-ganyan ang ginawa ng diktadura ng mga dilawan. So copy-paste lahat ng sistema ng Pilipinas sa mga Democrats nangyayari. Nangyayari mga magpahanggang ngayon. MC, that's why I love Trump. Alan Santos, good evening po. Itos Valdes, Butch Valdes. Wilfredo Opeñana, watching mga boss, gandang gabi po, mabuhay ang KDP. Virginia Malonzo, malayo-malayo si Digong kay Trump. Talagang totoo at tunay na nagmamahal sa kanyang mamamayan. Laging inuuna ni Trump ang kapakanan at kinabukasan ng mga American. Well, Monkey D. Luffy. Gobyerno natin, alam lang kung paano peperahan ng mga Pilipino. MG o Kasla. Tama pa kayo, Sir Butch and your son. Pinagloloko lang nila tayo. Ang tao. Ang presidente dyan, walang sariling desisyon. Rosalinda Cabanilla, Sir Butch and Sir Itos, ang gagawin nila sa mga tao, maging slave sila. Yun ang nangyayari ngayon eh. Amelita Iwase, salamat po sa inyong paghatid at paghimay ng mga balitang puno ng kaalaman. Eljan Lucas de la Cruz. Oy, Eljan, kamusta? Pilipinas, game ka na ba? Do remember, #then Vaxia. Sablay if we do, sablay if we don't. Si Eljan yung tumulong sa atin sa eleksyon.
Kumusta Eljan?
Raj Mendoza, good evening sir, Butch, Sir Itos, mabuhay po kayo, mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Marisa Buyaw, daming natututunan po sa inyo. Salamat mga sirs, watching from Hong Kong. Motor Jan, sarap mabuhay. Sir Ida, Sir Butch, next po sana about Marcos history. From the day na ipagtanggol niya ang sarili niya hanggang kung paano siya pabagsakin ng mga Aquino. Thanks po, mabuhay po kayo. Interesting part of our history. Yes, maybe soon, no? We should tackle that. Teofilio Rosendo, maraming salamat sir sa mga info niyo. God bless po. NC Carrion, sir, wag nyo nang bigyan ng idea ang administration, sir. Wag nyo nang bigyan ng idea ang administration ng hindi makataong gobyerno. Yeah. Jose Aquino, Nemesio Prudente, the military will install photos Trump. Let's see. Nori Renon, mabuhay ang Katipunan, Sir Butch, Sir Itos. I like your program, always watching from Israel. God bless. Gerald Jewel, I appreciate your very informative show. I learned many important things. Many articulate and intelligent people I've met are only so in so many ways. In other ways, they are shockingly stupid. I must get that book and read it. Thank you. Lynn Cabrera, it sounds like 1986 to 2016. Yeah.
Right.
Do we have more?
Meron pa.
Ayan. Nel C. Tasara. Why did Trump not use his power as president to stop the electoral fraud? Since he knows of this way back before the election, a Biden administration could have been stopped. And after 11, he has the military on his side as well. Well, there might be a bigger plan at work.
At saka hindi po natin alam masyado yung mga behind the scenes at the other considerations. From what I understand, President Trump wanted everything to be constitutional, and he did not want to wield his power just to stay in power. He wanted also he wanted it to go its whole length in order for all of these traitors and treasonous people in both sides of the road, yung mga Democrats tsaka yung mga Republicans na traitor sa bansa, no? Gusto niyang lumabas din. So pinabayaan niya umabot doon sa panahon na yon.
And also, you remember po, yung lumabas about Dominion Smartmatic, hindi lang po yung US, sa US ang nangyari. It goes around the world. So there are a lot of people who conspired to cheat these elections, and they were used to cheat. And these are not simple people po. These are heads of state, and these are elite. So, nahuli po sila. Yan ang intindi natin. So, let's see.
Tapos, meron pong balita din, hindi natin alam kung totoo, nung January 20, nung inauguration, ang may plano daw na ang military ay papasok at pipigilin daw yung inauguration tapos uhuliin yung mga ibang tao, no? Kanya lang hindi po nagawa yung planong yon kasi nakabalita sila sa intelligence na meron daw dirty bomb na ilagay dun sa Capitol. Napapaputukin nila yon kung pipigilin ng military ang inaugurasyon ng ni Biden. So umatras muna ang military dahil maraming masyadong mamamatay at hindi nila alam kung totoo yung intelligence na yon na merong bombang ilinagay na sinabi, pag pinigil nyo kami sa inauguration, papaputukin natin yung bomba tapos ibibintang kay Trump. No? Kanya po na, ano lang to, balitang ano na to,
Right.
wala tayong confirmation dyan.
Oh, so these are stories that are coming out now to explain. The point, yun na nga, yung sinasabi natin kanina is, research po tayo na research, keep your ear on the ground nga, sabi ni Chairman. And then, usap tayo of what, the events will prove which stories are true. But it's exciting to watch right now. Of course, very dangerous. Alita Ibanez, good evening po yung mga sir, God bless po. Ugti Fipger, watching from Germany, good evening po sir. Daisy Marino, pakiakyat. Daisy Marino Lin, Lolo Biden, puppet siya ng mga oligarch and elite, mga sir. Mukhang gano'n. Fortunato Reyes, mabuhay po, Katipon. Simply irresistible. My auntie worked for your father, Carlos Valdes.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Wonder
you.
who your auntie is.
Yeah.
Gary Salcedo, Tito Gary, any news on the Arizona forensic audit of election machine? Ongoing. May lumabas, Tagar, yung recently that I don't know if it's Arizona or it is in Michigan, na yung legislature was allowed to examine the audit. Kasi dati during the protest of Trump, before January 20, hindi sila pinapayagan ng governor. So the Supreme Court of, I think it's Arizona na lumabas lang ngayon, na they're allowed now to conduct the forensic audit. I don't know the results of that. Honorio Pascual, how to be a member of the Katipunan.
Punta lang po kayo sa website natin, katipunandemokratikongpilipino.com ba yun? katipunandemokratikongpilipino.com, and you just list down there. There is no, you can be a member, no? You can be a member and you just join us in all of these programs, no? And we consider you a member, no? Pero if you want, you can list down your name there, and we will include it in our list, no?
Okay. Randy Castillo, hello mga idol. Buti pa si Prime Minister ng Australia, binantaan niya ang Google. Good Eve from Japan. Yes, nagalit siya sa Google and these tech giants. Kasi nagre-react po yung mga world leaders na binan nila si Trump. Because it's against free speech and against the Section 230 of the agreement, the telecommunications agreement with the US government. So, may fallout yan, for sure. Paolo Pineda, mga maestro, I believe na supporter po kayo ng Pangulo. But this time, as a presidential supporter, dapat kung ano ang tama, yan ang isulong. At naway kakalat sa social media upang maalam ng Pangulo.
Tama po.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're trying to do, no?
Right.
Because we have been trying to get an audience with the president for the past, how long now?
5 years.
4 years. 4 years na. At hindi po tayo makapasok. Lalong-lalo na po this last year and a half. No? We've been trying to see him because we want him to understand how important it is to do certain things, especially on the level of expenses of people on electricity, water, and telecom, and how important it is that if the government gets into it, he will be able to reverse the situation and provide a boost to the economy of the Philippines. Yan ang tawag namin ng mahiwagang bakuna. Yan ang tunay na bakuna sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. As of now po, yung mga advisors niya, wala po silang ibang patakaran o programa na isinusulong. The stupidity of it is among those that they want to push is to open up our country to foreign investors. Yun daw public utilities dapat pag-aari na ng 100% dayuhan. Yan ang really stupid because that is not a solution. That will kill the people.
Yes.
No? Because these foreign investors will not. Kung yung Filipino investors walang pakialam sa buhay ng tao, lalo na yung dayuhan, hindi po ba? And our lawmakers, yan pong mga nagtutulak nito, no, ay mga prostitutes and they are traitors to the country and the people.
Okay, Kem Lejano, good evening, idol, watching from Pulupandan, Negros Occidental, Bacolod. Monkey D. Luffy, ang bansang Pilipinas ba ay corporation? Hindi dapat, pero it's the ones who are running the country.
Hindi po, we're supposed to be an independent republic. No?
Yeah.
We're supposed to be a republic. We are not a corporation. We are just now a virtual colony of the powers that be main international powers, mainly because our leaders allow it to be so. No? At yung mga leaders po natin, no, pinapayagan na maging alipin tayo. Totoo po yan. Maski na itong nangyayari sa atin ngayon, makikita nyo. Hanggang dyan na lang po tayo sa ngalan po ng ating mga katipon dito sa ating katipunan at sa mga galing na staff ng DZXL Radio Mo Nationwide. Kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan nyo kami ngayon ang oro de peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo dito po sa ating katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli mga katipon, 7 to 9 p.m. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.